We're here at Rebel Loop Studios for another Rebel Loop chat. We have the amazing, very excited about this one, amazing Harry, aka Harry DJ, aka Harry from 40, Clothing Empire. Harry, welcome. Good to have you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. And thank you very much for having me, mate. And that's sounds like a very illustrious introduction, mate, which I'm never comfortable with. If I'm going to be really honest.
Yeah, but it's other people saying stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Harry. So who is Harry then? So let's talk about I always like to kind of go way back. Do you like? So let's go way back. Talk about where you're from. I'm kind of from East Kilbride. Yeah. Everybody's from all different areas.
Yeah,
so tell us about what area you're from.
So I'm from Motherwell way, Trevor. I come from a village called Newhill. Right. I actually was brought up in a wee place called the Gas Scheme in Newhill. The reason it was called the Gas Scheme was because it was the first houses to get gas piped into them after the war and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I really loved where I was brought up. I really loved it. Yeah. I had a real sense of community around about it. The houses that we were in, which was like, the rows, it was like the rows of houses, the rows of council houses.
Yeah.
Everybody knew everybody. Mrs. Stewart was next door to us. You had Mrs. Sned. But again, it's like even where I was actually, where our house was, it was in front of a big grass square.
Yeah. Play park, but just waste ground.
It was always, the council was always putting up no ball games, which was used as a goalpost for everybody.
Exactly.
But I honestly, Robert from Social Recluse.
Yes, he was on the last podcast.
Yes, I actually grew up. Well, I never grew up with Robert such. I used to run about with Robert.
Was that right?
Yeah, me and Robert kind of were friends for.
I didn't know that.
For years and years. Robert was from Newhill as well, and the clothing designer Christopher Kane is also from Newhill. Yes,
wow.
So his sister Tammy and Sandra and his brother. We used to drink in an amazing place called, I don't know if Christopher did, but we used to drink in a pub in Newhill called the Silverburn Hotel. Okay. Just an amazing place to be brought up. Loved it.
Yeah. They talk about that when you get groups of people together who make us believe what they can do. You see something and then you can actually do it. So do you think that happened with you and the guys in there? It's kind of a bit weird. You all went into kind of fashion.
Not really, mate. Because again, it was like that was always kind of after we'd left school and so on and so forth, and that bit.
Just a coincidence.
Even Newhill as well, like round about areas, look at areas like Bells Hill. Even at that time as well, it was like Peter, who's head of designer, which will head of design for us, like. His brother Jerry Love was in Teenage Fan Club. Yeah. And then you've got the Soup Dragons, and it just, I don't know. I mean, it must be something in the water. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like
highly creative time in Scotland, wasn't it?
I don't know, mate.
Highly creative time.
I've got, but again, I just, I've got really, really fond memories of growing up and where I lived.
We're talking late 80s.
Late 80s.
Mid to late 80s.
Well, I was born in 73.
Yeah.
Hated school, absolutely hated school. That's not strictly true. Actually, there's some stuff about school that I loved. Like I was quite active, so it was like PE and I actually loved biology for whatever reason. That's not led me on to anything else. By the way, I just love biology.
Do you love a bit of chemistry?
Well, do you know what I actually kind of found? It was like, I think as you get a wee bit older as well, isn't it? It's like you started to realise. Well, I've realised, no generalising here, just only talking on my own behalf, but it was actually the people who made you feel decent about yourself, treated you like a decent person, no matter what age you are, young, whatever it may be. And it was always like the biology guys were always fantastic,
cool.
and I really enjoyed that.
You always get someone, if it's like a coach, I hear a lot of people talking about for inspiration, it's a coach, it's a teacher, it's, it's someone who's inspired you as an adult who sees you and sees the potential in you and gets you excited to actually, try harder, fulfill your potential in some way?
I think that comes across as, it's like, I don't think, I keep trying to talk in other people's perspectives, but from my perspective, I've always found that it's always about people. Yeah. It's always about how me being a people pleaser. All my days, just realising just recently why the effect of being a people pleaser, what that was. It was like, it was always about the relationship and how that's developed through feeling good round about somebody, how they made you feel about that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's very, very, that's still at the absolute heart of 40.
Yeah.
It's absolutely everything. It's relationships for me, you know, whether it be through the design process or why we use certain cottons or everything is about my relationship with that.
Yeah.
And then how you then translate that to people round about you from your team members don't like using staff. You know, it's not customers, it's people.
Yeah.
So again, the relationships for me, Trevor has been always the absolute. So it's funny that, isn't it? It's like when does relationships become old school? They don't.
Yeah, and when do you touch on? I think we talk about back in Scotland. You know, these days when they had such culturally, it was rich with bands coming through. People were getting signed. People were coming to Scotland to look for artists, clothing labels, music. That all has an influence of us, had a massive influence on me. So, you know, let's talk about music, like your first gigs when you went into Glasgow. Was it first gigs over in Motherwell? But how did you get involved in music?
Well, I think even there was always music in the house, our house, right? So, you know, my dad who passed away, I think God, how long's my dad passed away now? Wee Benny, he's passed away about, I'd say about maybe, I don't know really, it's about 18 years thereabouts my dad passed away. My mum, but it was my brother who I'd absolutely idolise. He was always into music, so at that point he was listening to people like The Jam, he was listening to, you know, like Style Council obviously after that, but I even remember, you know, he had the 12-inch vinyl of Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division.
That was amazing.
But that, even at that point as well, was like, I think it's always the same with your peers and the people that you emulate. You almost kind of try to fit into that and the, almost music fashion and everything.
School discos.
Absolutely, you know, at that point it was like...
wearing waffles, stay press, was quite big at that point.
We couldn't afford waffles and stay press.
Right, well, I think I talked to you about this before. I think my mum had a card for Burton's. She had an account at Burton's. You'd pay up every month. So I remember Burton's.
We had a card for birthdays, mate.
Burton's,
That's not even...
What a label that was. You know what I mean? We're going through the catalogue and all that. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely. You could have won. I think of the music, with me coming through school,
first gigs and stuff like that.
And that's you know, it was the football culture.
Yeah.
The band, I don't know, it was a real, at that point, you know, coming into 5th and 6th year, the music for me, I felt as if I was looking for something, the music.
Yeah.
I was listening to stuff and I still, Simple Minds were probably as close to that point because it was that electronic sound that was through the instrument aspect, but then you know what really started to spark the interest was like almost like the new romantic side was like that electronic sound that I really connected with that electronic sound. That deeper bass. It was like, I don't know, it just seemed to fill the room.
Even like Duran, that's how they were so glable, because
that's
it's
the thing,
so
isn't it?
popular, that sound, man. It's like...
See, when you look back, but you actually kind of look back about, like, for example, like even like coming in this morning, like listening to things like Yazoo, you know, things like Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode
actually
was massive. I mean, I was into Transvision Vamp. That was my first gig in the Barrowlands in Glasgow at 14.
I suppose I was always attracted to electronic music, whether that being on the new romantic side or whatever it was, and you know, it was like, I don't know,
That makeup maybe? No.
Well,
I've done a wee byline at one point.
No, back then, but probably now.
Yeah.
But again, and then what happened was, is like, even like back then as well, you look at, you know, like, I was really into Public Enemy.
Oh, okay.
Not so much NWA as such, but I've got a story about that as well. I don't know why it just connected. Again, it's like I remember, like my first ever kind of Public Enemy album I bought on tape. Was Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Which was Don't Believe the Hype. It was you know, it was like Fight the Power. No, Don't Believe the Hype was actually Yo Don't Bum Rush the Show. That was a previous album.
Right. Okay.
But again, it was like it was actually a cultural thing. It was like almost like the hip hop and electronic music thing, you know, it was like...
Teenage Rebellion as well,
absolutely.
But like the whole thing about street culture, that was a big connection.
Music culture.
Spray paint, street culture, hip hop, you know, like, I mean, how many people had, I mean, I couldn't do it, but there was always a group who could put a bit of lino down and spin on the head or the back. I mean, that was big.
But I think when I'm starting to kind of talk back about, I've always linked things back to Trevor about music. And again, we were brought up with not an awful lot, like a lot of people, mate. We didn't have nothing, you know what I mean? But we didn't have, but that was just through...
Like our parents, they had nothing,
Aye, mate,
but we had
like
a wee bit.
My dad was ill from a young age, and you know, there was 4 of... But I never felt... Getting into your teenage years when you're kind of starting to... You're starting to look at your peers, because in your teenage years, your peers are the same age. Do you get me? And what they're wearing. And, you know, I think I started to kind of look at that as if that was what represented me, because we couldn't really afford... I remember it was like brands like Travel Fox. Oh yeah. You know, the shoes, which again, Fox, I remember my first pair of Travel Fox, and I never took them off for about 2 years, I think. And again, it was like...
Quite a skater brand, is it?
No, it was like, again, that was very much more towards the football culture.
Right, okay.
Because again, like where we were brought up again, mate, it was like very football driven.
All the Burberry stuff, you know, Stone Island all the way through.
It was, for me back then, it was like Ocean
Lacoste.
Pacific, OP.
Okay.
OP, Travel Fox, things like Cheruti, which is actually more kind of a formal wear brand.
So you're pure niche.
It was like, it was very, but that's the guys that I run about. We are on about with a load of guys for Bellshill called the FPI project, the FBI, Funky Beating Corporate, they called themselves. But again, though, mate, that was very much a subculture. Those guys, you know, like, that's when I really started to go out with these guys and go to gigs.
So did that get you out further? Because it's hard to break out. So this is early teenage, you know, it's breaking out, coming into Glasgow. What was the first experience of going in? Because it's always normally getting a train, not really the bus.
There was a shop called Piccadilly in Bellshill that I worked in.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And when I started working in Bellshill, I actually met a guy, Gary Caldwell, who is no longer here. And Gary and me got on like an absolute house on fire, and Gary introduced me to his cousins and his, you know, and the whole kind of thing. And, you know, it's like that new guy from they've built up friendships and culture and what they do and everything, and then I'm that new person.
They say, come meet these dudes, you're a nice guy, you need to meet these people.
And then that's when I kind of really, that's when really was my first real experience of house music.
I love that, but that's all part
going to these kind of these gigs basically, like in the Bellshill YMCA, DJ Cha Burns. But again, it was like playing things like Orbital. And like these tracks, like that I was going, what is this?
Aphex Twin came out, Future Sound of London.
I think it was more like, for me, it was like, I remember tracks like, even like Orbital Belfast, which again, now you listen to, you just actually realise how amazing it is. But it was like, you know, it was like, but Future Sound of London.
I was a big Future Sound of London.
But again, I started to realise that the clothing was an extension of who you were within your group and the music you listened to.
And no one was smart anymore. So it wasn't like when, like years ago, to get in a club, you had to have shoes on. Yeah. So 1 minute you're going out with shoes on and trousers, and then suddenly you could get in with jeans and trainers, and it was like, you know, that kind of split.
Well, see that, mate. It's funny you should bring that up, because again, it's like there's a lot of stuff we maybe talk about that you don't really kind of connect. And it was like, that was the thing, mate. It was like at that point you still had to get in to a club with trousers and shoes on, right? So you talk about how the subculture really develops and a sense of rebellion and this, but why that happens, because didn't want to go out in a pair of shoes. No. You know, wanted to get in their trainers and stuff like that. So that's why, again, you look at, you know, you would go to a YMCA, or you would go to these places that weren't a club, but it was like, you know, it was like, you know, it was like function spaces that you put a DJ on and go, and like all your crowd would come, because that's how you could go and listen to the music you wanted to listen to, dress how you wanted to, and nobody told you fucking what to do. Do you know what I mean? That was...
It was like the New York scene and the hip hop scene when, I'm dyed in the wool Adidas, and it's really hard for me to get away from it. This is Adidas trainers. So you see that, so that came across from America, and that thing hit. And then the clubs, the clubs were like saying, right, this is dance music. You know, you're jumping a bit like a lunatic, doing whatever, and you're wearing streetwear suddenly. So,
you know, a guy called Jimpy Simpson, who I got introduced to through my first job in Glasgow, through Reese.
That's right, so Reese, and that was in...
That was in Princess Square.
Princess Square,
Again, that was my first trip into Glasgow, and a guy who took me underneath his wing, a guy called Jim McMahon, introduced me to Jimpy. Jimpy was a guy in the absolute forefront of the club scene in Scotland.
Right.
Jimpy did Club 9, and Jimpy was actually the very, very first guy to give me my first gig at an all-nighter.
Right. Cool. All nighter. First all
And
nighter.
again, though, mate, that was like done in a local club, and it was like, again, I just couldn't believe what I was allowed to be part of with the music, and it just resonated me in every level, Trev.
Yeah. I can imagine playing your first place. How were you excited? Nervous?
Shit myself. In fact, I'll tell you actually, because it was in Zanzibar for Motherwell.
Oh, vinyl.
Mate, I've got forearms like Popeye
Vinyl,
because I had to carry my vinyl around
and then like putting the needle on and all that.
2 bags here, 2 ones in it. I was that nervous.
Handshaking.
I couldn't put the needle on the record, and then
I've had this from a few DJs at the beginning.
And I've lifted the needle back off the record that I just put on, and just again, it's like I think when you love and you represent yourself for something by so wholly, it's like it's that's who you are. And you just want to do a good job, and you know, like, but you're still trying to find out who you are, and do you know what I mean? It's like, but again, it was a really special time.
Everybody was so open. You could go out and meet people, and people would say, "This is my group. This is my group. Let's meet." And you do an all-nighter, and you end up at someone's house, and everybody loves each other, and everybody's going home in the morning.
But you know what was a bit mad?
Meeting new people.
The football thing and the football violence and the culture that came through that. You know, it was like it used to be as well. Though, it was like you would, you know, sometimes you would get like, you know, certain boys for certain like could be like in Motherwell, because at that point as well, Motherwell, Hibs, Aberdeen, you know, they all hated each other, right? And then it would sometimes you would get just absolute stramash because like maybe the Hibs boys would turn up at the all-nighter and stuff like that as well. So even back then though, it was still a bit of an edge to it, you know what I mean? And it's like, but
all the house scene had a bit of an edge to it as well, wasn't it? Because you weren't sure some places I went to, even when I was down in London and stuff like that, we were talking about how this whole kind of like Ministry of Sound stuff down there, all the stuff that started up here. It definitely felt like, am I in somewhere illegal in this warehouse or whatever? And a lot of stuff got shut down, and
I actually went to an all-nighter. It was called Euro Dance. No, it wasn't Euro. Was it Euro Dance? No, that might have been Ricky's thing. And we get driven to a farm, which I later found out was in Nielsen.
Right. Okay.
With blacked out windows. And then the coppers raided it halfway through the night, and we waited till the bus came in the morning. We're soaking with sweat. It was freezing cold. That was my only experience of a kind of an illegal one, but I didn't even know it was illegal at that point. I was going to say something actually. It was we were saying about the gigs and about the
first gig. No, not about DJing and being nervous, but your record's on in places and stuff like that.
And with what's it called? What's it called? We were on a, sorry, Matt.
No, it's fine. It's a good time to mention that actually for that stuff. Like you've got it, me, and you want to talk about it as well. Is that we're both neurodiverse and dyslexic, so I get these like stutter points as well, where you can't remember stuff. It's annoying, isn't it? In a way, and sometimes people don't understand it that well. But I suppose it's good.
So I've only recently, I only generally, you know that way you've got an inkling, right?
Yeah.
But it's only just actually in the last few years that I had an inkling.
Yeah.
Going through school, and I think that's where the people pleasing came from as well. It was like not feeling good enough because. Not trying hard enough, not feeling good enough, not doing. And there was not enough
meeting the mark.
Knowledge, and I don't think there is still enough knowledge and acknowledgement about learning differences. Now, it's been called learning difficulties, which I absolutely hate. Because you know, it's like you know, like coming through school, and it's like because everybody was judged on how well they did with their classes and how well, and you felt like a fucking idiot. That's So again, it's like I think that's where my humour started coming. I think I hear a lot of people saying this.
Humour,
Was the humour because
humour or anger.
That was my intelligence. Because I could make people laugh. But at the same point, you know, it's like going through school and actually not feeling good enough to be there through how you were spoken to, how you were spoken to by your peers, like all your pals. Because you know what it's like your pals are like, fucking thick as fuck, excuse my language. But
They don't get it because they're young, so they're gonna, any pop they can have it.
So that self-confidence goes, and the lack of it, you know, instead of that building up, it gets less and less and less.
Yeah, it gets eroded over time.
And constant,
they talk about the constant drip of every day. You know, reminders, pointing it out, not passing the exams. I never passed an exam to near the end of third year.
I'm going to quote my pal Diesel, right? I'm going to quote my pal Diesel because he always makes me laugh, right? He's as funny as Billy Connolly, and he looks like Tyrone from Coronation Street.
Yeah.
And Diesel says that he left school with trampolining and plasticine.
Right.
But again, it's like you know, I just felt the last couple of years, you know, finding out that I was dyslexic and I have ADHD, and even like that as well. Just recently, Trevor, I don't know if you've kind of. I think it was because of social media, right?
Yeah.
And ADHD and being dyslexia being talked about and ADHD being talked about a lot.
Yep.
You know, it's like it was almost kind of saying, well, everybody's got it at some point, right? Do you know what? That's a very open thing to say, and it's a very relevant thing to say because we're all neurodiverse to a certain aspect. You know, for me, I've always said, well, see when you're kind of trying, see when they say an autistic scale or on a scale, right?
Yeah.
Based on what now, and that might be something there somebody can tell us, but I don't know what that scale means.
Yeah.
You know, where did they benchmark it?
Yeah.
And then how do they all come out?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, when I found out that I had ADHD, it's been life-changing for me.
So how did it then make you feel, like emotionally wise?
Emotionally, for the first wee bit.
Let's go back on this then. So both of us have been tested, lucky enough to get tested.
Yep.
I got tested when I was 30. You got tested just a short while ago.
Yeah.
So how did it make you feel? Because I love asking neurodiverse people and dyslexic people, because I'm dyslexic especially. So how did it make you feel?
Well, I'm going if I cry here, I'm pre-warning.
That's fine. I'm going to cry with you.
I'm an over-emotional.
It's trauma, isn't it, man? I don't think people realise how much trauma we've got with that.
I think that's the same. It's like when you talk to somebody who is dyslexic or has ADHD. You know, they kind of know that all the shit that you deal with from whatever age and how that just compounds and compounds. They don't realise it, like all the coping mechanisms you've had to put in all that stuff, and it was I don't know, mate. It's been life changing.
Yeah, life changing, mind blowing. Absolutely,
because then starting to realise that I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Realising that it's like I'm not stupid.
You are good enough. By the way, I mean that's, do you know, every single dyslexic person I've talked to, a lot of neurodiverse, but especially dyslexic, say I'm not stupid. The word stupid, so you hear it as a long time. So I've been working for Dyslexia Scotland, the charity, for over 10 years, right? And the word stupid, I'd like to get the word stupid taken out of the dictionary. It's not a helpful word. Do you know what I mean?
It's even like that as well, mate. It's like, it's not normal. Well, my normal's different for your normal. Yeah. It's different for... Normal's a very, very personal thing. And again, it's even like that as well.
Your normal's different from a lot of people. It's just like, but that's what makes you. That's what makes you great, man.
But again, though, mate, that's. I think that's still that underlying thing where
it's hard.
When people ask me if I own 40, I get quite. I don't know how to answer it.
Yeah.
I think that comes from the not feeling good enough. You know, it's like you'd always say everybody else is better than you round about you, and that's caused me some serious issues. You know. Even over the last 10 years with 40, mate, because again, it's like always making allowances for people because you think they're better than what you are. Yeah, because, like, as well, not because, but for me, speak personally for me, is because for a lot of your early years, you're told you're wrong. Yep. You're wrong. You're lazy. You're lazy. You're not trying hard enough. You're an idiot. You can't do this. Get out of the class. Blah, 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 blah. So whenever you do stuff when you're older, for a long time, and I've dealt with it for a lot longer in years now, but you do think every time, and I still do it now, when you do something and then someone says, that's not right, I instantly think, oh, they must be right. And a lot of the time, people aren't right, but I always think I'm wrong because I've been told that all the time. So my first go-to is I'm wrong, but it's not good, man. No, I speak to the guys when we come in there, and it's like, I constantly justify myself. Yeah. I constantly justify my thought processes because I've built up my thought processes over the years of working things out before I try to say it, because you're scared in case you said something, somebody says no. So it's like, it was exhausting, mate, because you're trying to cover all bases before you've almost kind of had 15 different conversations. So what are your scary, I've like quite like asking dyslexic people, because when they share it, loads of other people go, oh Christ, I can share this stuff as well. So what's your scary moments? And I'm going to give you one of my scary moments. So one of my scary moments is like an example of when you can find out you're dyslexic early on, is going out for dinner and someone brings a menu out and you're like, oh, and you ask for the wrong food or whatever. And most people are like, get it wrong. I'm saying it as well. You say a different name or whatever. But I was terrified of going out. So I would always say, gonna pick for me to people. So there was that. And
in work or something, it would be like if anybody brings out like a group day or a networking day, or that you bring out a chart and everybody got to write on a chart, I'd be like, oh my God, I've got to write, this is it, man. Everybody's going to find out that I'm stupid. You got any kind of things like that?
I don't know if I think it's kind of I think it's been quite a constant thing, mate. I don't think I can really pinpoint any particular moments. I'm thinking, but it has been like that. When I write things down, my writing becomes illegible because I knew I couldn't spell. Yeah. So it was like getting to that point where just things like that, and I don't know. But see now, and that's another really what I've found getting a bit older now in my early 50s is and I think this is I don't think this could have came at a more perfect time, and that's that I do things happen at certain times for reasons. Yeah. I've always felt that, but it's allowing me now to come into an amazing part of my life where I'm not scared that I can't spell worth of monkeys. I can't, it's like, but there's that. We're all scared of ourselves, right? About what we might think other people think of us, or what they might think bad of us, right? Yes. But actually now I'm like that. I don't care. But you do care, right? You care.
I know. I get what you mean, but you don't care.
My brother always said
I don't care anymore. I literally don't care.
You care more about less.
Yeah.
Right? What that means is, like, again, it's like, because I do care about things. I care about what I do, care about people around about me. Yeah. But I've now started to say, I really try to be a good person with people. Yeah. My default is always about, how do I make this better? Yeah. When people come on board with us, or even coming into new relationships, my default is like, I want them to do well. Yeah. Right? Again, it's like, but I'm now at the point, mate, where...
You're very open that way.
It's really I've actually started to realise as well, though, mate, there's like when people don't work out round about you, or they don't do this, it's not because I haven't tried. Yeah. It's I've over-tried, and I've maybe facilitated the fact that I've maybe facilitated some of the behaviours. Yeah. For that thing. But I'm actually at the point now, mate, where I'm getting to this age, I'm going, do you know what? I know I didn't try to be an idiot, and I didn't try to do a bad job on that, and it's almost like there's a real self-confidence and discovery.
A new part of yourself. It was always there. This person is always there.
So I don't mind saying as well, because I'm a very open. It's like, so I've kind of started medication with ADHD, and it has been absolutely life changing. And I know that people around about me, because of the Harry that always was people pleaser, kind of remember things, always apologising, even though it wasn't my fault.
Stop describing me.
You know what I mean, mate? Yeah. And it's like, I'm now at the point where this is allowing me to go, no, you're talking shit. Yeah. I'm sorry. But I'm having to judge how that is now, because I'm becoming quite hit on everything. Yeah. And again, mate, it's like, that's what I'm saying, is like, this has been like a new lease of life for me, mate.
Yeah, and you're coming to older again, eh? So it's a thing that in our generation, hopefully people are getting a little bit more handle on, but it's still bad in schools. It's still a postcode lottery. It's still, my kids are neurodiverse and dyslexic. They're going through that now as well. So, if anybody is going through any of that, advice I would give them is get in touch with. There's always charities and organisations you can get involved with. So go to Dyslexia Scotland, ADHD Scotland, and look in. And the biggest thing, what I say to most people, right, is the 101 that saved me and helped me the most is just talk about it. Don't hide, and just talk to people about it and get it out. The more you talk, the better you feel. So,
I think it's like that.
So school was hard then, I reckon. School was hard.
I think I would say my memories of school, I have got some fond memories of school, mate. I have, what I mean? Again, it's like, but it's like, for example, my son and my daughter. My son's dyslexic and ADHD.
Oh, is he as well? Right? Yes, my son as well. It's hereditary, folks. It's hereditary. So if two people are dyslexic and neurodiverse in the family, then your kids are nearly 100% going to get it. If one is, it's 50.
Absolutely. So, and I think it's a really good thing to talk about there, Trevor, and you said as well. It's like, I think us getting a bit older and being more comfortable with ourselves, it makes it easier to talk. Oh. And that's the thing as well, with kind of younger people. It's like, it's a game of talking about this peers, and you really want to be part of that group, don't you? And any deviation on that, it can cause you a lot of stress. And it's like, and I think that's why you see especially at school. Yeah. Now, I don't know.
Brutal, man.
I still don't see enough acknowledgement and support about what makes you on the understanding learning perspective. There is no dyslexic schools in Scotland. None. There is one that you can go to in England.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right. I sent you something the other day there, Trev. Now I can't really. I'm not good at recalling figures. But I've been saying this for a while. It's like when you start to drill into it, the amount of people that have ADHD or dyslexia. Well, for me, that's then, you know, people call it as neurodivergent, but is that not then saying about a different brain type or how you see things?
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like you look at the amount of people who maybe be entrepreneurs or maybe be this, that, next thing.
Highly creative people.
I think the figure I can remember is it's like something like 43% of entrepreneurs have dyslexia.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, well, that's a massive amount of people who are not supposed to be traditionally intelligent on schoolwork, right? But guess what? They've left and they've done their thing. I know what I'm like if I'm faced with challenges. It actually calms me down.
Well, there's a good point there is with people who are neurodiverse and have a learning disability in that range, it's got nothing to do with intelligence.
And I'm glad you've said something there, mate. I'm glad you said something there. Because again, it's like that. It's the term is constantly put as a learning disability based on a structure that's in place in schools. Even call it special education or support units. Supporting what? Supporting the fact that you're trying to teach somebody to learn in a way that they're never going to learn because they have a different mindset. And that has always pissed me off. And I hate using that word, learning disability, because again, we're talking about what your normal is and what my normal is.
It's style.
It is, mate.
It's a style. It's the way you take things in. I do like audiobooks now. YouTube's about. I look at a lot of visual stuff. I've always been a visual person. I've always been drawn towards the arts. I don't think that is a characteristic was just a surprise. I think it's because of the way my brain works and the way I think and look at things differently. I think you speak to a lot of different arts. It's not across the board. It's not everything. There's a lot of dyslexic people who become surgeons, pilots, or whatever, or working.
And because it's so diverse.
Yeah, just like society. But I think what you're saying is, we definitely realise it's a real difficulty when it's not identified.
Yes, mate.
And then the stress on it. I think the hardest thing for me is, I don't care what you attain, but you shouldn't have to suffer. Do you know what I mean?
Never. So, and unfortunately, I think there's a lot of that. It's like it does cause something.
Right, so let's talk about. Let's go on a wee bit. We could talk about this forever. We'll do a podcast all about this. I'm gonna do it because we can do that. I noticed. I noticed. So verbally, we're amazing. By the way, there's a real stat out about dyslexic people, how good verbally they are.
Yeah.
It's remarkable as well. Really good speakers sometimes when you get past your nerves, when you get past that kind of failing bit. So let's talk about leaving school, jobs in Glasgow. Let's talk jobs, man. Talk about where you used to work, all that kind of stuff when you're going into the Glasgow scene and the street culture.
I mentioned, I actually started my first ever job for school was in Burton's in Motherwell.
Burton's, we talked about earlier, Burton's. I had a club card.
Mate, do you know what? I got on the wrong bus. Which meant I was late for my first day of working life. I had my brother-in-law's white ski jacket on. I had my school shoes, which had the plastic soles on it, which was a good thing in there because it had a nylon carpet. So we used to run up and down the carpet, charging ourselves up and touching folks' noses and stuff like that. I went from there, I went to Piccadilly, which again was that whole thing about meeting that kind of start to really get into the cultural aspect through. I was meeting and how much they were into their clothing.
What did Piccadilly sell in? What was that kind of stuff?
It was a bit mad. It was like it used to have a kind of a brand called New World, which was just out the top with New World written on it. Loads of different things. I remember polka dot shirts, high-waisted trousers. It used to sell like shirts with like the blue roses and the red. I mean, it was a real kind of
new romantic, the high waist.
Yeah, very much so. When I left there, I actually got a chance to start in Reese, the YTS scheme.
Reese was a belter, man, in Princess Square.
So I used to go to a place called...
That was the top place in Glasgow.
Again, I was shitting myself again. I used to go to a thing called GRTA, which is Glasgow Retail and Trading Association, right?
Wow, how cool is that?
You know what I mean? But again, mate, it was just folk who left school, like myself.
That's amazing, but...
We went to there, and what they did is you were a YTS youth training scheme at that time.
Margaret Thatcher.
Which was like 20. I got £27.50 for a weekly wage.
That's wild, isn't it?
And I was actually taking my first interview. I remember I was wearing my brother's as well. I always stole my brother's clothes, right? And my brother's still as cool as Penguin's Feet, right? And he had this brown leather over the head piece, right?
Yeah.
It was far too big for me, and I wore these high waisters and my school shoes again. I went to this interview with Reese with a guy called Jim McMahon, who was like has always been a massive influence in how I was taught to be around about people, and the passion for clothing and why it meant so much to everybody's got different influences in their lives, but that was I just connected with that because of how I felt about it. And I remember going, and Jim was that hungover when he when he interviewed me. He just went, you know what, wee man, you speak well, I'll give you a job. And that's how I started with Reese.
But he's seen something in you and give you a start, eh?
I think it's because he was really hungover.
Right, okay. Anyway, then, who cares?
Actually, as well, mate. Just
You're buzzing. You
must
must have been buzzing, eh?
It was great, mate. I felt terrified as well because you're going into Glasgow, and again,
it's always the next
from a cultural perspective, Glasgow, you know, like that was like that's
big town.
Big town. Getting the train in and just, but I felt terrified. I felt absolutely terrified because again, it was like that was my peers. Yeah. You know, you felt you're being judged. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's like it's that. But again, Jim took me under his wing and really gave me the foundations of what we really do now.
Right, that's cool. Right, let's dig into that then. So Crew, that was in Reese. Right, so let's talk about other shops in Glasgow at the time. So what was there? There was... so Paul Smith was in that centre as well, next to Ted Baker was next to...
So Ted Baker, you had... but the shops you emulated were Ish and Isan.
Ish and Isan, yes. Ish and Isan was a big man.
That was like cooler than cool.
Cooler than cool.
And you had...
was that
you
guy
had
called
Warehouse.
Steve ran that, was it?
I'm not sure. Mate.
It's biblical, isn't it?
Warehouse, but again, it's like
Warehouse.
Labels. Seeing in the clubbing, it was John Richmond, McKittrick. It was shot. It was like again, it was like the club culture.
Cruise was big.
Cruise was again. I remember actually it was my 18th birthday, and I remember I paid 40 quid for an Armani t-shirt.
40 quid, wow.
And my mother
Armani,
nearly had an absolute 40. Mate, when you've 40 quid was a shitload of money, right? And it was like that was, but at that point as well, mate, the whole culture, retail and how that then went into clubs and about the people you hung about with and what you wore was really a focus for me.
Well, I used to go into town, same thing. I would go into town with my mates and then we'd try and get a bite to eat somewhere, like, and it sounds like posh, but it wasn't. Right? You'd go and try and get a bite to eat, a bit of cafe culture, have a coffee. You go to the warehouse. There's people in there you knew, so you'd hang about
at the cafe. Warehouse, that's right,
so my mate's sister used to work downstairs in the cafe, so we'd go in, get a cake or whatever. You stand about talking to the staff.
Yep.
You know, you'd try different clothes on. They quite liked it because they knew us, and we'd try stuff on and it'd make the place look busy or whatever.
Made you feel welcome.
Yeah, you'd hang about in the shop, and then people would come in with flyers. They had all the flyers for the clubs. Yeah, absolutely. You'd maybe get a flyer. Oh, you can get in here tonight for nothing. Hang about, and then you'd go to hairdressers. I remember like going, you get your hair done, like go to the Alan Edwards or whatever.
Well, I used to go to Slashers in Newton Hill.
Brilliant. I'm just trying to act posh, but there was a whole culture of like, it was like a day out, and then you would stay out, and then you'd go clubbing.
Absolutely.
And gradually people, and you'd be like a record shop, like, you know, all these different kind of record shops in Glasgow. People, I was going to say text, but people didn't text. You'd phone someone and say, I'll meet you. So that was it. So that's probably why we done it, because we didn't have phones. You say, I'll meet you near the warehouse. You meet you in Princess Square. We'll meet you in Bar 10. I'll meet you.
I kind of need to say something about Reese and Jim. Jim was, and actually I ended up started working for Cruise as well, mate. Jim was with Cruise for years before he went to Reese. And Reese, Jim is known in Glasgow as Jim McDisco. And it was such a well-known guy. And Jim really, it was actually Jim that introduced me to Jimpy Simpson, I was talking about earlier. And Jim, you know, was like the guy that everybody wanted to be around about. You know, right handsome guy. He was used to be a dancer, you know. But
just cool.
And was introducing me, like, for example, you know, you'd finish work and go downstairs into Buzzy Wares.
Buzzy Wares.
Or Darcy's.
Yeah, Darcy's. Darcy's is still, no, it's not, Darcy's gone. El Pavoni's, is it El Pavoni's?
El Pavoni, it was the first place I ever tried. I'd never tried.
That was a pasta, that's what
spaghetti carbonara.
The
first place I tried spaghetti carbonara. It was Jim was really hungover again. There's a thing here, there's a stream here. Yeah. And he sent me down, he sent me down for spaghetti carbonara. Talking about like maybe with the dyslexia and the ADHD and not being able to concentrate, Jim sent me out And I thought he'd set me up for a rolling sausage. And I says to him, Jim, I got you brown sauce and the rolling sausage. You see, I asked you for a Mars bar. So maybe thinking back then.
But he thought, that's cool, that would do it.
What? Used to go to Henry Healy's. Used to send me around to Henry Healy's for my... But again, Jim really introduced me to, it was like Jim was getting me into places like the Tunnel.
Yes, the Tunnel.
Jim was like the sub at that point was still unobtainable for me.
Was Bar 10 then?
Bar 10, it was like, it was like again, it was like Jim really opened my eyes to the whole culture.
Let's name some of the clubs then.
Okay then.
So, and Jim sounds like a legend, by the way.
Jim,
so,
I've not seen Jim for years, mate, and I would love to see him again, because I've got a lot to thank him for.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's lovely when people hear that, and there's loads of people through your life you'd love to say that to. These are good points to see it. And then when they find that out, I said that to my art teacher. I met her with dyslexia and said, like, she saved my life, helped me with art, really made me believe in myself. And she was like blown away. She's like, I can't believe that impact on you. So.
Jim Gibson, who used to own Cruise, I got a lovely message for Jim about a month ago. Just congratulations. It was it's quite emotional.
No, it's cool. But brilliant, I love it. Yeah, they're special
because there's a guy there who owned Cruise, right, which was the place in the UK, Trev. It wasn't just in Scotland, it was the place in the UK.
Yeah.
That's why Flannels is called Flannels, because it was actually Cruise Flannels.
Did Cruise start in Glasgow?
Cruise started in Newcastle, and then moved, but a guy who used to own Flannels was a guy called Neil Prosser, and Jim and him were partners, and it used to be called Cruise Flannels. So Neil left. They had a fallout. Neil took Flannels and Jim stuck with Cruise. Yeah.
There's loads of labels. I remember Red or Dead. That was a bit late in the day as well. That was quite a Glasgow one. But East Stand was a standout. I mean,
you used to buy Get a Grips in there, which is like the big clubbing shoes that went with your McKittrick trousers and your.
So did everybody? I almost think I let them dreaming. Sometimes everybody wore black, and I had these big toe clip things and hats on and all of that. That was a big scene at the time. It was massive in the Tunnel when it was all the Renaissance.
Destroy Johnny
Jackets.
I bought one not long ago for a guy in Dubai for 250 quid, and somebody's offered to buy it off me for 1,200, and I'm not doing it.
It's just all these people and seeing all these big DJs and stuff like that playing Glasgow, for like Pete Tong and all these people the first time played in. Who are the people you remember playing in the Tunnel and stuff like that?
Tunnel again was just that again, like I didn't even mention, so I now get to play with I do a lot of work with Colours and Street Rave now, and again that was
great guys.
That was my church. Street Rave, Colours. That's where I really started to cut my teeth on the music that meant so much to me. But Michael Kilkie, Michael at the Tunnel, he used to do the art on a Friday night, and again it's like Michael, it's great. It's like speak to Michael regularly, but Michael's just a good guy as well. And guys like Ian Boney Clark, it's like I count as a friend now as well. And these are guys that you just stood and
35
watched.
years were there at the beginning.
Tunnel for me was just, but it was where really set me on fire was the Arches.
The Arches. When the Arches came, that was later. So I remember, I'm going to name some. So Joe Paparazzis.
Joe
Paparazzis were there. We had Fury Murray's. We had Red Rain.
Absolutely, Red.
I love Red. Love
I used to go on Tuesday night to Reds.
That was cool. Upstairs, Red Velvet Curtain.
Absolutely.
I'm not imagine it again.
No.
Red Velvet Curtain.
Some sort of velvet curtain.
Some kind of velvet curtain.
Don't know if it was red, mate. I couldn't tell you the colour.
I know, it's definitely like something like that for me. And then they had the Volcano up the West End.
Well, the first time I was actually in the Volcano, I get chased out. Which was Big Colin Barr's.
Oh, was it Colin Barr's? Because he had the living room or the lounge at the end of Colin
was the first guy to open the tunnel.
Oh, that's right.
Colin opened the tunnel.
That's right.
Colin's again, just talk about kind of people who changed.
Legend in Glasgow. Legend.
It's like Ricky from Street Rave and Colours.
All these
Ricky
guys
changed the scene.
A lot
Colin
of people don't know who they are, but legends,
Absolutely, because they done it because it was honest. It was who we were. And you wanted to be part of that.
And Glasgow wouldn't have that rich cultural scene without these people,
not at all.
Who really pushed it forward.
Not at all.
So all of them nightclubs and all of that in Glasgow were amazing.
I get chased at the Volcano. I went on a Tuesday night with, actually Peter, my pal Pinchy, can't remember who else was there, and me, and then we get chased out was a quiet night. I think it was only us and this other group in, and they tell us to bolt, and we did.
I got chased at a couple of places. Maybe
but obviously we train spot in the first
maybe
one.
the Arches one time as well. I got chased at. There was always dodgy situations at some point. Or something would happen. You get a bit paranoid and think, right, I'm up the road. I'm out of here. Do you know what I mean? That tune's made me feel pure dark.
And 5'5" is my pinnacle. Do you know what I mean, mate? So I was always the guy like that. One more batter than me, fella.
Yeah. Oh my god, isn't it? That's when nightclubs were open nearly all night. Some of them when it was late.
Well, that was the all-nighters, you know. It was like going to Marlow Civics. The all-nighters went to Zanzibar's all-nighters to the Gympie. And again, you know, it was like that culture thing. I actually I was killing myself. I seen one of those cards, you know, like one of the funny cards, and it says, "I'm at the age now where an all-nighter is no need to go up for the toilet." I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But I thought it was quite funny.
Well, let's not even get into that.
9 o'clock looks like I've been tranquilised.
Love that.
Maybe not getting. I'm kind of maybe taking away my persona here, mate.
Persona, I love that. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, the whole Glasgow scene, the whole culture, and then that builds up to then, right? That builds up to me pulling my glasses off there with just so much excitement. That builds up to like, you know, your DJing career, 40 Clothing, and it's like the 10th anniversary you're telling me the other day. So like 40 Clothing, what it means to you, and its 10th anniversary.
40 Clothing. I've probably told this story over the last 10 years, you know, and it's like I think sometimes that, you know, you maybe think people are kind of getting a wee bit, how can you say, a wee bit, what's the word I'm looking for? No, bored, but a wee bit. They've kind of almost think they've heard it.
Right, okay. Oh, right, okay. So, like, your inspirational story about it.
But again, no, mate, you know,
there's always versions of that.
There's the thing is, I was, you know, come home and Bryce had drew the monster.
Yeah.
He was only 3 at the time, and it was just on a bit of paper on the floor. And again, I was like, there was just something about it, mate.
In the multiverse.
I couldn't. I don't know, mate. I just couldn't. And when I posted it on Facebook, I got one like, one comment from Peter.
Yeah.
You know, I went on my first ever boys' holiday with Peter to Tenerife in 1994, Pedro.
Yeah, we can't talk about that.
No, mate.
Maybe another time.
No, honestly. Yep. But again, it was like, this was all, you know, that point as well, mate, Cruise had been taken over. And how it was being run at that point really didn't represent who I was as a person and the people coming through the door and what it started to mean to people. And that's just me personally, mate. You know, it's not for anybody. I'm you know, because again, I've still got really, really good friends and colleagues who work with Cruise now. I'm not saying anything about the business like that, but at that point, it kind of just started to turn into something that I didn't feel represented me anymore. Yeah. I was given an ultimatum on the 19th of December 2013. Maybe kind of need to go back a wee bit here, sorry.
That's all right.
When I posted that on Facebook, I got one comment for Peter saying that I'd make an amazing t-shirt. Yeah. I was a manager at the time, mate, and buying as well, mate. So again, I can, you know, and we had a wee pop-up shop on the 13th of, the 6th of November, 2014. And Wee Guy's Cafe, which was the chef guy, there was a Guy Ramsey. I think his name. I might
Gordon
be
Ramsay?
Guy Ramsay.
Guy Ramsay.
And it was a pal Claire who ran it, and she says, "Why don't you have a wee pop-up shop?" Because we only had about 6 or 7 t-shirts at this point. And we had it, and loads of friends and family, and some of our fledgling kind of a 40 community came at that point, and we nearly sold through everything, mate. Wow. And I remember going home and in my kitchen, and I'm going like that to my wife, going like that to Kelly. Oh my God, I couldn't sleep, mate. I couldn't. Yeah. I'm thinking, what if? And at that point, mate, it was almost like, I don't know, it was like finding out about ADHD when you kind of hyper focus on things. At that point, it was like so new for me, and I was under pressure with working and everything.
Lots of things going on, young family.
So I started to then, I can understand, mate, I started to more focus on how we start our thing running now. There was a guy that we knew had a basement of a hairdresser's, and he'd said to us, look, listen, if you ever need a space, go in there. So I'd spoke to him about it, and he said, yeah, go for it. So what I'd done is I'd actually set up a small place while I was still working at Cruise. So I understand why I was given an ultimatum. I understand. But why did I do that? Is because I was obviously looking at doing something.
Yeah. You can maybe see the bigger picture.
Well, again, mate, I think with everything, you just, for me, it's about try to just, I'm a risk taker, mate. you know, but again, that's part of who I am. But I don't see it as risks, I just see hate the here and everything in between it is just how it goes.
Yeah, I think if you do your own company, anybody would say there's a risk, but excitement, and you know, it's definitely not the normal path.
I used to say, when you make a decision, it's 100% right at the time.
Yeah.
And I also used to say that you had a 50-50 chance at working out, right?
Yeah.
I still say that every decision you make at that time is 100% right, but I feel that by putting the work in, putting the graft in, believing in what you're doing, listen, you're always going to have that doubt in yourself. Of course, nobody's got a crystal ball, but I can feel that you can stack the odds in your favour.
Yeah, I think so. The great thing I heard before is you just need to make a decision, and you just need to move forward.
As soon as you make that decision, you
just got to keep moving.
As soon as you make that decision, you step into whether you acknowledge it or not. You've already things start to happen about you that help you with that.
Yeah.
So we actually had a guy, Kevin, who was working at Cruise at the time, who actually went over and helped me with the first Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you working? No. Right, well, would you fancy going in?
Yeah.
But when I was given the ultimatum, you know, I went in before pre-Christmas, and we'd no heating and no fitting rooms. It was freezing. I'd put on a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a hoodie, and we'd go and buy wee heaters out of Argos, and it was freezing. I couldn't move my fingers.
Yeah.
And it was exciting because it was new, and it was like, it's almost like that COVID feeling at the start where everybody felt a bit, you know, you were bevying and you were doing these, that feeling of
bevying, right?
No, jeez,
we're doing loads of stuff, eh?
And again, it's like, it was the exciting, but then what happened is you come into January.
The reality.
I wasn't working there, you know, it was 20 years on Cruise.
Wow.
I'd left.
Yeah.
I was now standing in the basement hairdressers, knowing that I had to sell those t-shirts and those sweats and those hoodies to pay the bills, feed my kids, feed everything, you know, and there's a real fear, but that's also been a real driver.
Yeah.
Because I think you can't ask for something and then do it and then step going, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
For me, I just throw myself into things, right? And I just thought, nah.
It's really interesting.
I'm going
People
to
do that with stuff and see a vision or why they do it, if it's excitement or fear or whatever.
Yeah.
But you've got to just keep moving forward and believe in it and drive yourself forward to do it, eh?
I've always said as well, mate, like even at this point as well, because there's been loads of challenges that we've had over the years, you know, real major challenges over the years. But because I don't have a choice with this, I don't want a choice with this. 40 just puts me, it's got its hand on its back and it's moving me forward.
It's everything.
It's everything. It's everything. It's like 40 is not just about, I'm not at a point in my life, I will not do anything else the rest of my working life as long as I can be part of that. Never.
That's cool.
And it's like...
Love that.
It's like, I don't know, mate, it's... How can I say this?
It's in your DNA.
It is, mate, and it's like I see how much people have really, really genuinely supported us. Now that might be from coming through the door and spending their hard-earned money to because it's not just a t-shirt we're selling, mate. You know, especially because it was Bryce's drawing. That's my son's drawing on something that I've always been passionate about, that somebody wants to invest in. Now that's not just financial, again, that's them. You know, and I've always recognised this about certain maybe brands, you know, it's like people will want to represent themselves through something, for example, on a clothing basis. Why do you wear certain things? That's why you had, you know, the football culture through Stone Island and all that, you know, like destroyed through the clubbing culture. It was because people represented themselves socially. So I was always been very, very aware of that.
And you've had the whole journey through that. You know, brands are massive now. Back in the day, they were just getting built in the early 70s and stuff like that, you know, but brands are massive and you've went through that whole ecosystem over the last, 35, 40 years?
Yeah, it's building up. You know, 40 didn't start 10 years ago, mate. You know, 40 started when I was, you know, kind of leaving school and so on and so forth. So again, it's like, I still have that feeling grateful. And I know you hear that term all the time, but it's true because, like, again, when do you stop being grateful for somebody walking through and want to be part of what you do? You know, it's like, I still have that buzz.
The buzz.
I'm going to work. I try to get in the stores as many days as many Saturdays. I'm in the office a lot. But again, because I still don't. That's where you got to get rid of the ego, because when you do something, you design something, you don't know whether it's going to do well or it's not going to do well, right? There's like Hannah, who works with us. She asked myself and Peter, "What's your best and your worst design?" Right, and I was like, "Well." everything was my best design or our best design, because when you do that, you do it because you like it and you want it, but you don't know how people react to that.
Yeah. There's loads of stuff you do like as an artist, so it might not sell a lot, but
Exactly.
you'll love it.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like
someone will sell a lot and you may think I didn't like that as much.
That's where the relationship
you
comes
love them
for me.
all,
And that's where you need to get rid of the ego, because you know, it's like.
But that's been commercial then, right? So when did you understand? That's a really interesting part of being a business owner and stuff like that. And I've talked to different artists, you know, like James who was on before, and then like Bob and stuff like that. And you are an artist, right? But how important is the commercial side of it and seeing that and understanding that?
That's again about understanding the relationship you have with that person that walks through the door. And that's about where, that for me, that's a collaboration as well, right?
Yeah.
So again, what's really important about being on the shop floor and watching and listening is because when you do something, you don't know how well it's going to do, right? So people who come through the door will tell you how they like it by how they purchase it. Mm-hmm. So you start to learn from that perspective, you know, well, that's worked.
Yep.
So if that's going to be commercial for us, it's not even commercial. It's like, it's actually listening to what that person is saying.
How do you feel when you're out and about? I mean, I've seen you DJ before as well. I love it when I see you DJ. And it must be mind-blowing for you when you're in a club. And I see it now a lot. And you turn around, someone's wearing 40 and you're like, whoa.
Mad.
Do you know what I mean?
Mad. It's still...
Yeah.
Mental.
It's mental. Yeah. So cool. But you see it, man, Glasgow going on. And that's the culture and the stuff you've been brought up in. You're like dyed in the wool, you know, street culture, clothing culture from Scotland, eh?
Do you know how mind-blowing that is?
That's mind-blowing. It's cool, eh?
It's...
Yeah.
A wee bit.
Yeah. I know. And there's water. There's water.
It's
Cheers. Cheers. Yeah.
It's I don't know, again, it's like, I don't really know how to put it into words, right? Because it's like, you know, it's like every day or every week, you know, we're in that office and we're creating and doing it. You know, it's like, I'm never want to stop being a student in the process.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want to ever come to a point where I think, no, because you don't.
It's a great saying.
Right? It's like, because it's like, that's why I'm saying is like, I don't want to do anything else the rest of my working life. Bryce,
I don't think you will.
Well, do you know what, mate? Bryce asked me a brilliant question. He was like, Dad, when do you think you'll retire? And I'm like, when do you retire for something that you love?
Yeah.
You know, when does that come to a point where...
Yeah, work's work, but it's still, it's a thing that you love doing, so you always do it, eh?
And it's like, I suppose I'm still that 16-year-old laddie.
Yeah.
My wife says she's got 3 kids. Yeah. but again, but I'm coming to that point maybe where I've really leaned into that, because if I can say, I don't really give a fuck what anybody's got to say about me now.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't, because it's like, and I don't mean that from an arrogance perspective.
No.
Because the people that you've got around about you who really care.
It's not so much about what other people think of you, right? So you don't even give
a fuck. I'm thinking myself now, mate.
I don't give a fuck about even myself now. Yeah. I'm past that, not being able to spell, that guy who couldn't do that or couldn't do this. It's like some kind of big awakening.
And it's like, but again, that's where getting rid of the ego, and like it's not about what you don't care what people think, because it's almost like that contradiction from the same as well. I do care what people think.
Yeah, but that can hold you back, eh?
Yes, absolutely, mate. But I care what people think because again, you're talking about like the commerciality.
Yeah.
You know, I need to care what somebody's got to think about that, because it's about giving somebody something that they see within you when you do that they want more of.
Yeah.
And that's about learning and taking away the ego and say, well, do you know what? That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like...
Are you ever out in a club and all that, and you see someone at a bar, whatever, when one of your stuff, and you think, oh, you win that when I think, oh, you need to change that, put that collar up in.
I'll tell you, actually, this is it's all...
Someone wearing a double t-shirt underneath it or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, see, like, building up relationships with people and just, like...
Because Glasgow's great for that, isn't it? Mixing
great, pal.
The way that people, like, the fashion, the way people wear stuff in Glasgow has... I mean, I live in London for years. People talk about it in London, it's savage, man, savage.
It's like like, you know, knowing people, like building up relationships and people through the stores and DJing and blah, 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 over all the years, mate. And so, like, it got a wee bit, you know, because again, like, even see people wearing the, you know, our product, our tees or what. And it's like, I was getting a train into Glasgow, I was going to work, and there was a guy sitting beside me, and he had one of our t-shirts on. And I went, nice t-shirt, mate. And he went, thanks. And I'm like, oh no. And I kind of just at that point I was going, I learned my lesson.
Right, okay.
And it's not the fact that you don't want to go, amazing, and thank you very much. It's like sometimes it's like, you know, it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like not having that expectation that everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
That again is an ego thing. You know what I mean? It's like like that for me is like that's why I think I still get quite uncomfortable when, you know, people are quite direct about asking me about if I own 40 because
I get it.
I've said this as well, mate. It's like I'm like the lead singer of a band, right? Where we all write the songs. Yeah. And it's just again. It's
that's
like,
a good one, by the way. So,
do you know what I mean, mate? Yeah, so it's like it's a from people walking through our door to the members of the team. It's a collaboration, and again, it's like sort of, you know, and that's how it's always felt for me.
Yeah. So if you could be a lead singer of a band.
Yes.
Who, and it's a bit putting you on the spot on it. And as dyslexic, I hate people when they kind of sometimes do that. You think, who would you be? I always wanted to be Larry Mullen Jr. from U2. I wanted to be the drummer. Okay. I thought he was the coolest guy in the world back in the day.
I think for me, it wouldn't be bands. It would almost be like the DJing aspect. Yeah. You know, and that's another really lovely thing about just now, mate.
I was going to say contentious thing, but like,
it's like for example, it's like I'm getting to meet a lot of my musical heroes now because of getting to do things like Street Rave and Colours and stuff like that, and it's like that for me, you know, coming to this point in my life was just absolutely
I met Darren Emerson. I interviewed him the other day. It was like mind blowing, you know. Paul Oakenfold, but Darren Emerson was like he's cool as
and that's what I'm saying, mate. It's like there's guys in the culture like for example Bon Slippy, you know, who co-wrote that as well. Like I went for a meeting with Darren,
talented man,
not long ago. Say it was a few years ago. Yeah. And I was sitting in this Greasy Spoon cafe in London talking to Darren Emerson, going, "This is the guy who wrote Bon Slippy. Yeah. This is the guy who."
It's like mind blowing. That's like
you might not know them personally. Yeah. But they have been part of your life, from the music to the situations you create in your head through the music and the people you hang about with. Yeah. I mean, it's like they become you and they represent you.
Yeah, I went to college with Damon Harris in Brighton and stuff like that, and he started Skint Records and stuff like that. And it's just normal people, who absolutely 100% love what they do.
And do you know what, mate? I found
and innovate and just don't almost care what people think.
See the guys and see the people who have worked their socks off to get where they are. Yeah. They're the ones that are most willing to help you.
Yes.
Because they understand it when you're honest and transparent about what you do and who you are. Yeah. They
just want to see you grow as an artist.
They just want to see you grow.
The commercial side and making money, it's kind of like a sideshow of all of that art, I suppose, isn't it?
I've always said this, mate. I'm actually glad you brought that up. And again, this is no an Instagram post putting out there. This is no this, that, and next thing. Mm-hmm. When I mean it was never about the money. It was never about the money. Yeah. Right? Because again, it was like that love of being given an opportunity to work and put your heart and soul into something that you loved. And that, obviously learning business later on is like you understand that you have to have the finance to make it work. But it never was about that. It's still about the love of the product and the process and about sharing that joy with people. That will always be in the heart of that.
That comes across, Ari, with you, and I hope people understand that when you hear the backstory of the length of time that you've been in this industry.
I'm actually starting.
You'd think you'd be quite good at it.
Noticing my neck starting to look a bit Turkish now.
You'd think you'd be quite good at it by now. Do you know what I mean? I love that. But it is like being a people person, you know, being out. You're out on the street, man, all the time anyway, so you see stuff evolve, eh?
Always interested in what people have got to say, mate, always.
Cool, so that's kind of bringing us near the end. We could go on forever, and we definitely would do another one. I want to do one on neurodiverse stuff and deep dive on that. That would be super cool. Because the more we can educate young people and people coming through on that, the better. I know it's a big kind of trendy thing now again. I think it goes through cycles and all of that, but it would be really good to talk to you about that again. But what I kind of do normally at the end, to put you under a bit of pressure again, is I ask, is there anything, you know, about the fashion industry or any DJs, any books, any podcasts, any documentaries, or anything you could point people to watch or inspire them, young and old? Is there any kind of thing?
The thing that inspired me, inspired me and changed actually when I read it from probably about when I was 38 and not realising how bad I was at reading. I read...
I want to know how long it took you to read it.
Oh, mate, a long time. I used to have to go back and read every page again. was a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, right?
High five, it's a belter.
But it took me, I had to read that book probably 4 times, mate, for various reasons. But but do you know what, mate? See, after the 4th time I read it, it was like really genuinely, and laying myself bare and being really honest about this. There was something that happened where I understood about everything that was in the book, and how quickly things presented itself to me, and about how everything for me through what I learned about this book was as well, that your decision, as long as it's done by honesty and transparency and the willingness to do something you love, the decision has to be taken quickly.
And the trust in the universe and just being,
that
the alignment.
Absolutely. And The Secret as well, which I didn't really understand younger. But again, it's like that. It's like everybody's different and everybody's how they things. But it was absolutely the Alchemist and The Secret was the 2 things that absolutely opened everything up for me.
Amazing.
So if there's any, I would say that's more about following your dreams, and there's different things for that. But for me, that's the thing that really changed everything. And
that's cool.
That's when really 40 started to really, I wouldn't even say catch fire, mate. It was like that caught fire for me. I'm not saying it from that perspective. It just, and it's actually taught me as well that, and that was another really important part of this was, it taught me that if you really love something, it'll test you. And it's the non-verbal communication. Don't tell me, show me. And that's what I've always thought as well. It's like if you really, really love something in every part of that, you'll do anything that you can to.
You get drawn to it.
Absolutely.
And it gets drawn to you and knocks on your door and keeps reminding you not going to there.
And then tells you, show me you want it.
Yeah, how much do you want it?
Absolutely, mate. And I'll tell you what, by the way, it's
we really want it.
It's knocked my door a few times and tells I'm going to test you.
It's when they knock at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, whoa!
Wake up, who's at the
door? Yeah, who's at the door? Terrified. Right, Harry, absolute pleasure to have you in.
Thanks for
coming
having me,
again
mate.
another time.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed it.
So have I, mate. Thank you. Cheers, mate. Thank you.